Okay, welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. As the Nigerian Labour Congress considers pushing for a new national minimum wage of 1 million naira, the Sultan of Sokoto tells Remi Tinubu that Nigerians are suffering untold hardship under her husband's leadership. And not just that, we also understand that the suffering, complaint and struggle of Nigerians are due to the economic situation of the country. As a former APC chair tells Tinubu that he asked for Nigerians' votes and he must deal with their complaints. This comes amid the IMF and World Bank stating that Tinubu is doing well with economic policies as he's able to do things Obasanjo, Jonathan and Buhari shied away from by unifying the naira and removing fuel subsidy. And in the house, we have Mr. Lawale Kunda with us. And, listening to this particular story of NLC talking about minimum wage now of 1 million. And, their reason for calling for this, say, is the fact that the economic hardship or crisis in Nigeria is becoming dire. Let me borrow Mr. Moses who says this is dire situation. People call that untold hardship, that's 2 weeks ago, thereabout. Yeah. And now, please, what do you make of this? Because people are beginning to call Tinubu. Some people say, the Sultan of Sokoto says, that is how his word to Remi Tinubu, the wife of the president, that your husband, actually, under his watch, people are having serious economic issues. Even APC chieftains too are beginning to talk, And then you want to ask, my own question now to you, Mr. Lawal, this morning is this. Who are we going to blame for this particular hardship we're facing?
Of course, we'll blame the president.
Is it the president? Because some people, Sanusi says he is not the one to be blamed. Adeboya says our problem has gotten to spiritual one.
Even if it goes beyond spiritual, we still have to blame the president.
But we pray a lot in the country.
We still have to blame the president, because the president came on board to fix the country. That is his job. So any other thing that is talking, anybody saying is out of the question. Because the thing is it his job or not? Yes, it is his job to fix the country. And if you fix it, if he's not fixing it, we'll blame him now, we'll complain to him, we'll cry to him, we'll shout at him and whatever.
But he's just 8 months in office.
Even if you are 1 day in office.
Is it enough for you to perform the miracle? So
why not?
Not perform in 8 years?
Why not? You can perform miracle in 1 day now. Miracle doesn't, within a second, miracle will happen.
Okay.
Because when you are coming on board, everybody is familiar with the problem of the country. Everybody is familiar. I mean, it's not something that somebody is coming to lecture you about. We all live in country, we know what was going on. And when they were campaigning, they told us exactly the same thing, that there's problem in this country, we are coming to fix it. And you now came on board, you are now telling us that somebody has called it before. Why are you telling us that?
Don't you think him saying he's going to fix the problem of the country, he will just see it shallowly? He hasn't even gotten deep into this particular. Sometimes when you say, I know what you passed through, it's more like just a lip service because you don't know.
Moses, I want to this former Prime Minister of Britain, one that spent 6 weeks. What was her reason for just 6 weeks? She came out on board to tell the world that, my methods are not working. She came and said, I've tried my methods. My methods are not working. Therefore, I need to step down for somebody better to come in and fix this thing, because this country is greater than everybody.
Are you calling on the president to say the same?
See, let me finish my sentence. You get it? Let me finish it. Because everybody can see the picture. It's on YouTube now. Oh, yes. She came on, but in fact, she used that. I love her. She used that word. My methods are not working.
She was being sincere.
Yes. That's a leader. I can vote for her any day. I can support her any day. The moment you come in and you are not trying, and you tried it and it's not working, you get it. The next thing you need to do is to let somebody else try it. But here we look at it as I don't know the word to. Can you borrow me one word to use?
All right. Let's bring John Akerile into this conversation. John, good morning to you. Welcome. We're talking about the society, the fact that Nigeria is where it is right now, and some leaders, including some religious leaders, are saying do not blame the current administration. If you do recall, it was the same song being sung during the time of Buhari, where we were told, don't blame him, blame the cabal, blame those around him. It's not his fault. We're having the same thing again. Is this deja vu, or what exactly?
Good morning, Moses, and thank you for having me. Good morning to your guests in the studio and to all of our viewers all over the world. Moses, for me, I think a good leader is a leader that takes responsibility. I don't know if you are conversant with the recent happening in Hungary, where the sitting president of Hungary had to resign her position just because of the case of abuse or child abuse. And she gave an apology and she resigned her office. That is a sane country where people take responsibility for all of their actions. But here we keep on blaming the past administrations, and it shows that we are not responsible. It shows that we don't really want to fix it. But Moses, let me give you a scenario so that you understand the dilemma that we find ourselves as Nigerians. And so you are here complaining that the country is not working. But here you are a musician. And when it's during the campaigning era, the electioneering time, you get a budget of 200 million naira sent to you by one aspirant for you to make campaign songs for him and sing in his rally in about 20 local governments. 200 million naira. And then ask yourself, in the 8 years of the administration, how much was spent on education? How much was spent on the feeding program? How much goes to an average person or a student as far as student palliatives or loan or kind of grant or scholarship to help education? And then you ask yourself that we have become a people where we spend money on frivolities, and then because we are also eating or benefiting from the abnormal system, then nobody is talking. Imagine in a country like Nigeria where a better edu is, charged alleged of some corrupt practice, and then she can say to you that if you dare try me, that heads will roll, meaning that she's not the only one benefiting from these corrupt practices. And so we should not look at the back anymore. We have fallen several times. So I think we are looking for a leader that can say, yes, I know we're a problem, but how can we start tackling these problems head on, showing by himself, leading by example? If you are telling people to cut down and tighten their belt, are you seen as a president that's even cutting down your expenditure? Are you seen as a president that's even tightening your own belt? If you are saying that Nigerians should buy Nigeria, you as a president, are you all that you are wearing, is it Nigeria? If it's not made in Nigeria, then how do you expect your Senate president to move in line? If there's something I like about this administration of Bola Tinubu, is that he tends to have so many loyalists who are standing on his mandate. And I think with that attitude, he should, as president, show them the way so that all that are standing on the mandate will start buying what is made in Nigeria, will start eating what is made in Nigeria. Their cars will be made in Nigeria. And before you know it, this job that we are carrying that is not available, we start, revamping and revitalizing different sectors of our economy. And then we'll come back stronger and better. So I think all we need now is a set of leaders who can show leadership by example, leadership by example, and showing through their own lifestyle so that other people who are their followers can pick the same virtues from them. But all that we're seeing now is just political shenanigans, and I think we can do better.
All right, you know what they say, uneasy wears, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. So would you say that it's becoming overwhelming for the president? Because you do know that everyone that campaigned during the 2023 campaign for elections talked about the removal of subsidy. Everybody talked about it, and in actual fact, there was no continuation of that in the budget for 2023. It stopped around June, yes. Yeah, it stopped in June. There was no continuation for that. But the president was just, the one who mouthed it. And then things became the way things went down the road that they went. Would you say that he's being overwhelmed right now?
When Macron, the president of France, increased the price of fuel, do you remember that yellow vest protest against him? Do you know he reversed it? When it's bad that people, it's like, this thing is not popular. He reversed it. So what is happening in Nigeria?
Now, since you are drawing comparison from France, would you advise a reversal right now, knowing that the bane behind subsidy was the fact that there was a cabal sucking the nation dry, and Nigerians were not even getting the value of what was being subsidized?
Is it the best thing to do right now?
If you go to the hospital, you are not feeling fine. The moment the doctor identifies the problem, he starts treating the problem. You get it? Now, if you say it is the cabal that is eating the subsidy, that means you have identified the problem. Why not go after the cabal? Why not go after the cabal? Why not remove the parasite? Why did you leave the parasite if you are not happy with it? You get what I'm saying? So you have identified the problem and you left that and you are giving problem to Nigeria. Are you sure the cabals are still not eating? The cabals are already eating now. They are in mining. They are in petroleum. They are everywhere. So which area are you now talking about? You are subsidizing electricity, in which we see that even NEC just came out with a law that the discos robbed Nigerians, millions of Nigerians. And the government is still subsidizing the same disco. So are you telling me there's no corruption there, there's no cabals they're eating? So why do you focus on something and you still leave the disco? Why don't you remove the subsidy on disco and some other things you are doing? Now, this issue of petroleum subsidy removal, we all know why it was there. Did you fix the problem before removing it? I can come or I can campaign and say, I'm going to remove subsidy. Of course, because there's a reason why the subsidy was there in the first place. So if I fix the problem, the subsidy will be irrelevant. Then I'll remove it. But if I don't fix the problem,
fix on the problem first.
Yes, the problem. Now, we are importing fuel. We are exporting petroleum. We know the reason was because our refineries were not working. So the government had to put subsidy in order to cope with the landing costs and some other expenses. It doesn't want to put it on Nigerians, other area that do not know what is happening. Is that not the reason? Now, you are now saying I want to remove subsidy. You didn't clear the problem and you just remove it. Okay. It will, of course, double the problem of that. And that's why it is up till now. I said it on this minimum wage. I want to come back on this minimum. I said earlier when you were setting up committee that there's nothing will come out of this. Oh. It will be a waste of money.
Why do you say so?
Because you give subsidy, you only do this minimum wage in an economy that is stable. The economy must, because when you do minimum wage, before you do the next one, it will take some years.
5 years.
Yeah.
But in Nigeria, where in the next tomorrow now they can tell that over 100% increment has gone on the good.
In light of this, let me go back to John now. Now, John, there's this report in most dailies about President of the NLC, Ajaero, proposing that if things continue the way they are, if the naira continues to tumble, achieving a record low. I mean, naira is breaking records every week.
In this February,
there's a record low now. A record low of about 1,534 naira to a dollar. That's another record low. Well, if it continues like this, and minimum wage might be 1 million naira, how feasible really, John? And what are the dangers of this sort of proposal? If the bargaining starts from this, we know that they might not rest somewhere, somewhere maybe around 200 or maybe somewhere around 300 or 500. Will that even save the economy? And if you are resting this on the movement of the naira against the dollar, what is there to say that if the naira falls lower, we will not talk about increasing the minimum wage again, or if the naira gains against the dollar, what then would happen? Are we going to reduce the minimum wage? John, please help me out here.
Moses, I think the first thing we should look at is there are different issues all embedded in this question. The issue one has to do with the free fall of naira as against the dollar. And then we ask ourselves, how do we earn foreign exchange? Is by selling our own produce to the global citizen, and we can earn in global currency, which is the USD. The more we have export products, the more foreign exchange we can attract into our own economy. We are not exporting enough. And so I think that a reliable and responsible administration will look at what are the products that are available for a global market. How can we make these products readily available so that we can export to global markets? What are the value chain processes? What are the infrastructural defects and problems in this sector? How can we fix these problems? What are the timelines needed for this problem to be solved? Is this something that can be done immediately? Is it something that can be done mid-term? Is it something that can be done long-term? And what are the mechanisms that we can put in place so that we can have a smooth flow of products year in, year out for exports? Now, these are roadmaps into solving FX problem. That's on one angle, Moses. On the other angle is the issue of minimum wage. Moses, we have become a poverty-stricken country because our workforce is not productive. When you take a walk to your local government, just take a walk, maybe anyone that is close to your office there, to your studio there, and just do a survey and look at the productivity level of an average employee of a local government and ask yourself, what is it that he has done from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Now, it shows that we have built a workforce that is never productive, and that also is into the civil service. So now, if we are looking at productivity and we are looking at remuneration, they should be at par. If we are paying you for 8 hours of work, then we should see that indeed there's productivity in that sector. And what are these productivities that I'm talking about, Moses? It has to come with our taxing system. Okay, if you have issues with your residents, and that's why I talk about data collection, Moses. This, if you go to other countries where things work, you see that your local council office are always working in and out, because there are some people that should receive emails, there are some people that should receive, some payments, there are some people that should have issue with their residence permit and all that. And so these are day-to-day activities. And so when you want to increase their pay, you can say, okay, because of this activity that we are having, then there's a pay increase. But in Nigeria today, 30,000 minimum wage for me is even killing, is a death sentence, and that money should be increased. But to now say to 1 million naira, bosses, that for me is a dream that will never come true. But let us be realistic with ourselves. With 30,000 naira, good for now, it's not. So if you ask me, I think we should move between 250,000 to 300,000 naira minimum wage
And don't,
as benchmark.
Mr. John. No, go ahead. All
right, so I want to bring it back home now. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners mentioned yesterday that they are losing their members. About 1,500 members are being reported dead because of the hardship in the country. And something caught my attention, which I want you to talk about, the fact that a pensioner in Enugu State collects as low as 450 naira in a month. In a month. Now, these are people who are people's grandparents and people's parents who possibly, of course, after working for how many years, are hoping that the government should be able to pay them, no matter how little of their monies, to be able to take care of themselves. Now, most of the times you see the fact that they come to do one documentation or the other, you see their children and grandchildren carrying them up and about, trying to make sure that they thumbprint and do all of these things. And it makes me wonder if we actually love to suffer in this country. Now, before you answer that, there's this other thing that the pastor of RCCG has said, that the Nigerians' problem is spiritual. The Sultan of Sokoto has said that the reason why there is hardship in the country is because the people have deviated from God's purpose for them. It's Nigerian problem really spiritual, because I know we pray a lot in the country. I know we pray really a lot.
Okay, I'll answer your question. Let me start from the very aspect that we talked about. When you talk about the issue of pensioners who have to go and queue to collect their pension, that already shows to you that there is a dysfunctional society. Go to other clans of the world where things work. You will never see a pensioner go to the pension office to queue. That is why I said to you that the issue of data collection and data processing at the grassroots level, at the local government level, is something that we ought to have made all of these things to come seamlessly. They have their files and they have those records that can be updated on a monthly basis. And so when it comes to time of payment, they don't need to visit any office. Automatically, they get that payment in their own bank account. That is a system where it is structured. And that's what I'm saying to you, that until we get to that point as a country, that we are serious with our data collection process and we are processing data, people don't need to queue for them to have medical appointments with the hospital. People don't need to queue for them to get their money from the banks. People don't need to queue to get their pension. That being said, let's now move to the issue of spirituality and our economic problems. I think that we should be sincere with ourselves. Spirituality and effectiveness in governance, we mix it up in this part of the world. And it is also in that same scripture. That's why I said, pick ye among you 7 men full of wisdom and the Spirit of God. Now, who are those at the ends of our affairs today? Ask yourself, are they men full of wisdom? Are they men filled with the Spirit of God? The two answers is no. So if you are bringing spirituality to it, that's my own angle to that. But now let me say to you, check most countries of the world. Money responds to solutions, not to prayers. If I have a product, I will sell the product, I will get money in return, not prayers. If I have a service, I will sell my service, I will get paid in return. And so we must understand that economy and money works in a way where services and goods are provided for value to be exchanged, and money can be value. And so we should understand that enough of us being blindly religious and we can't show productivity for it. And I'm sure that some men of God are actually speaking up now, that we keep promising people, promising that they become millionaires overnight miracle, and not showing them the rudiment of work. That work, faith without work is dead. And so you must work for you to get something to eat. Check where we are growing up in the part of Lagos, the way I grew up. There are so many factories there. But if you check Oregon right now, I can tell you on that same road, you can find more than 5 to 10 churches on that road. Those places where you have churches now used to be factories. They employ people in their thousands. Those people are jobless. They now come to that same church and pray to get a job. Then ask yourself, who bewitched us? Even those Europeans who brought missionaries who brought religion to us, having factories in their own place. They have jobs for their people. They have economic policies that make things work. But in our own case, we turn it around. So if Baba Deboye, with all due respect to his office and his name, will say that it is spiritual, it is not spiritual. And it's because some of these religious leaders are also part of our problem. Why? Because they also benefit from the largesse of these corrupt politicians. So when a politician goes to greet a pastor or goes to greet a chairman of a Christian association or Muslim association of Nigeria, envelope is exchanged and it's called honorarium. Where does honorarium come from? It does not come from the salary of the governor. So it comes from also the people's money, the taxpayers' money. And so all of these people are party. They chop I chop is the system. And so even the religious leaders also are part of the problem we have in this country. If somebody is in your church and has come to make a testimony that he or she has been appointed as a minister, and he or she has been found wanting, you as a religious leader of that sector cannot come and say, please go and answer your question in court, or go and answer your question until you have vindicated them before you come back to me. But when it's our own case, we guide them. Instead of us to face the real fact, we say that this is an attack on the church of God. This is an attack on the church of God, but an attack on humanity. And so for us as a people, we must understand spirituality is on one side, but as it's now, our own is the political will of our leaders to do the right thing. But they cannot do the right thing also. You know why? Because some of our leaders also have their hands stained. And so who can call who to order? Nobody.
All right, Mr. John, thank you for that explanation you've given. Now, what I want to ask you also, I'll be needing you to also give us your concluding thoughts on that over the fact that we're pressed of time. Okay, now, the President's administration come up to say that they need people who have ideas to bring. I'm talking about the opposition now instead of criticizing them and all that, because Nigerians are actually suffering. We are crying. Forget the fact that some of us are wearing, nice clothes and all. We are actually having underlying, issues, underlying economic challenges. Now, what strategies do you think we need to bring in to curb this? It seems like the ones that the government actually have is more like ideas have eluded them. What strategies do you think we need to put in place to curb this economic crisis?
This is also another sign to you that Nigeria is a failed state. And I say that with all sense of responsibility and boldness. Now, in a sane plan, if you take an oath that these are the promises you give to the people, and if you see that going by the way you are going, you can't achieve those plans, what do? You resign. So if you are checking the likes of UK that we learn our own democracy from, and the US, when the president sees that he cannot get to what he has promised, the last prime minister before Chisuna came up resigned. Why did she resign? She resigned because she felt she cannot, meet up to her promises, and she resigned. So in this case, she didn't ask for ideas on the next person. So if you know you are not fit for the job, resign and go to your house and rest. Simple. We need people who can stand up and take up jobs and who can, take responsibility for their actions. It's in a case where the present administration now, when you are a member of APC and you have looted some funds, you'll be tried on media, and after that, the case died down and nothing happens to you. And the next day, you'll be on the ministerial appointment list. And then you ask yourself, who is fooling who? How do we continue in such a crowded, country that is full of mischief and corrupt practices? And so we cannot produce, we cannot progress. How come Nigerians get out of the country to other parts of the world, even when the conditions in those countries are not really favorable for them? They still thrive in those countries. Why? There is a working system. So all we are saying is that our leaders should create a working system that works for all, irrespective of who is who. In another part of the world, you talk of UK. How much is payment per hour? Average of £10 per hour. How much is £10 in naira? And then if you work 9 hours, that's £90 per day. How much is £90 in naira? That is even more than the minimum wage we earn in a month. So for me, I think seeking ideas from the opposition will not give you their ideas as to what they want to do because they feel they are better than you. You have told us that you are better than them. And now it is shown, it is clear that you are not better than them. So what I think you should do honorably is to resign your position and go to your house and enjoy yourself in peace. And let those who see they have their idea come on board. And if they also fail to, let them resign. Let's have this culture of integrity, of keeping to our words. We swore an oath. And that will uphold. If you cannot do that, let's resign and go in peace. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
It's just like somebody who says to you, he will give you good designs for your studio. And if you cannot deliver the job, what will you do? You will leave the job and get somebody that can do it. Simple. So if you're asking a position for ideas now, two things that it shows that you have failed. One. Two, it shows that you are out of ideas and you don't even understand what you said you wanted to do ab initio. So for me, I think for them to still have the little respect that I have for them, they should just resign and then let another person that feels he can take the job should come. Because I won't lie to you, the problem befalling Nigeria is endemic and it's multidimensional. And so it needs somebody that has that will. Because it must come from top to bottom. They must see that they have a president that is willing. They must see it in your attitude. They must see it in your action. They must see it, the modesty in your family. They must see it in your cabinet. Right, and from that, even your Senate president will take a clue that this is the body language of Mr. President and they can follow through. Right, and nobody will go against that which you have laid down as a president. So for me at this point, we need leaders who are inspirational.
All right, thank you very much, John Akerele, for your thoughts there. We totally appreciate. We have to wrap this conversation up now. And well, Lawal, let's get your own concluding thoughts. Can we do that in less than a minute?
Yes, the first thing which I was saying earlier, or I said is that if you know you cannot do it, like he said, and I've said, resign honorably.
Oh, yes.
One. Second, the NS is supposed to, they should stop chasing minimum wage. See how the economy can work instead of minimum wage. It's not working, it will not work. Forget about it. See how price can drop, the economy can be stable, we can begin to fight bad leaders instead of fighting for minimum wage. Thank you very much.
All right then. Thank you very much. Well, we'll be going into another topic now. We'll be talking about the Cardiac Society raising concerns over cardiovascular health and cautions Nigerians as some people died watching the football match now. Nigerians and health. We'll be talking about that when we come back, and we'll have Dr. Kayode Solomon speaking to us about this. We'll be back in a bit.